This is Feli. Title of our YouTube channel is Feli from Germany. But this latest video, well, she does pretty much stuff that compares U.S. to to Germany, because she's living in the U.S. But it's all in English. But I bet she's not saying that one is better than the other. She's just saying this is the way it's done there. This is the way it's done in Germany. This is the way it's done here in the U.S. And she's very interesting. Very well worth watching if you're that type of thing. But this latest video, she talked about this small group of students, living in, I think it was in Munich, but they were university students, and they become disillusioned with Hitler. They're writing pamphlets, saying how the Nazi regime is evil, which it was, but she's saying that. She's trying to get the message out to other people. How they should the war is lost. This is like in 42 or 43, something like that. The war is lost, and the German army can't defeat the Soviet Union and Allied forces, which was true. And I guess it's worth. But they eventually get tried by the Gestapo and then get executed. But it's a piece of history that the vast majority of the humanity has probably never heard. But I certainly hadn't heard. I've heard other stories, but I haven't heard that one. But there's a very famous story, like Operation Valkyrie. Well, there's been at least one movie on it, but that's the first time Hitler's top generals tried to they wanted to take over the leadership of Germany and negotiate some type of surrender with Russia and Allied forces, but that got put down, that got defeated. Well, they planted a bomb, and they wanted to take out Hitler with the bomb, but the bomb went off, but I think it just hurt Hitler. I don't think it didn't kill him, but anyway. There's one interesting story that I remember. There was a burgermeister of a town, was on the banks of the Rhine, on the German side of the Rhine, just inside Germany. That would be one of the first towns that Allied forces would encounter. And the burgermeister said, "Look, we don't have the forces, not that we don't have to have a big army here to defeat the Allied forces. All it's got to do is get a bunch of soldiers and a bunch of civilians killed. It's got to get a bunch of structures that have been here hundreds, I don't know, maybe 1,000 years, because there are towns in Europe that have been there over 1,000 years. They've got structures that old." And he said, "Look, all it's got to do is get a bunch of historic structures destroyed, a bunch of people killed." And the burgermeister had contacted Hitler and said, "Look, I really want to surrender to the Allied forces," but Hitler wouldn't let him do it. But that's what happened. I got a bunch of people killed, a bunch of buildings destroyed. I'm sure it's been rebuilt now because that's 80 years on. But I always thought that was an interesting story. But another thing I want to ask. I've asked you 2 or 3 times. Well, I asked your take on the AFD, Alternative for Deutschland. You haven't commented, but maybe I don't know if you're watching my videos, and I got no idea. But to me, these guys are neo-Nazis. I agree with one or two these things to say, but they're a bit too extreme for me. We've got people in this country with similar political views, and I consider myself right, but not far right. More center right, but. I'm not to the AFD standards. I don't know if you really want to comment on anything that current day political or not, but I'm just tossing it out there. Also, about your take on Schlager music. Once I started listening to Schlager music, I fell in love with it. I've picked up a little bit of German through Schlager music, and if anyone is interested in learning German, Schlager music, Schlager. It's certainly a very fun way. I mean, if you like a hard rock beat, that's what Schlager is, hard rock beat with German words to it. And there's a lot of AI stuff. There's what started out as a media, but they're now like Nord Sound Media, something like that. And there's like Cool Media, KI, something like that. They've got songs in German and English, and I've seen some in Spanish. So it's a little bit softer music. Well, the Nord Sound reminds me of like Taylor Swift, but with German words. I don't see why, but it hasn't been taken off on YouTube. They might have videos that have been up there for 2 or 3 weeks, and they got maybe 100 views. So the CA stuff hasn't been taken off. I like it. I think it's very, very pretty, but beyond me, why it hasn't taken off? But I just asking you take on that if you want. I have no idea if you watch my videos or not, but I kind of think somebody might get this to you and just ask your take on these things. And whether you care to respond or not, I've made my comment out there. Love you, Feli. Ich liebe dich. Auf Wiedersehen.